today. And so I have Mona Radler on, who is the host of um,
Adventures of a Feral
Feral
Hippie.
Hippie. Yep, sorry. So some of the people's shows I'm not familiar with. I've got Barbara. Are you there?
I am so here.
Awesome. And Barbara, what is your show? What's your show called?
It's called the Cosmic Oracle. It's on Fridays from 8 to 10 on Studio B on
Awesome.
Revolution Radio.
Awesome. And then I have Teresa. Are you on there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so give us a shout out about your show and where it's at.
Okay. I started with Mike way back, but we knew each other as musicians in Kentucky. But as far as now, he started me on Cosmos Connection, and I moved my archives over to Blog Talk Radio, which was fine. And I told him I'd keep promoting him and Revolution Radio. So I made my promotion Revolution Radios, plural. And I and Janet have been doing shows together, both places, since 2012. So we just mix and match and promote everybody. And I just love the ladies you put together. So thank you. TJ Morris ET Radio is the brand call sign for me. But I promote
Great.
all the big brands, Cosmos and Revolution.
Awesome. Okay, Janet, give us a lowdown about where your show's at and what show you're doing.
Okay, I don't know if my voice is activated yet. Hold on 1 second. I'm just waking up. It takes a while for my voice to kick in.
Hawaii.
Okay, there we go. Yep, it's Hawaii. I got up at 5:30. But I didn't get up early until 5:45 or 5:50.
That's commitment. That's
Anyway,
commitment.
my shows are Sunday Sacred Matrix 8 to 10 Eastern, and Tuesday Stargate to the Cosmos 8 to 10 Eastern. And I'm on with my husband, Dr. Sasha Alex Lesson, and we're in Maui, Hawaii. So I guess we're at the end of this time frame here. Couple East Coast people. Mona, where are you located?
East Coast.
Okay. And Barbara's
West Coast.
California. West Coast. Okay.
We got
And
it
I'm Hawaii.
covered. I got
And
the
I'm
South.
I'm the cream in the Oreo. I'm in the West Coast.
Okay. That's true. You're
Cool.
in Reno, right?
I
You're a
was
star listener and worldwide, so everybody's involved.
Wow.
All right, so one of the things that
okay.
I wanted to kind of bring some people together, and it's kind of ironic because I noticed that the people who wanted to come on and join all have are all kind of in the alternative, like, would have made their livings if they're still doing the living. But we all kind of are like out of the box, kind of on the fringe, on the edge, um, between, mainstream, maybe even alternative. I think probably a couple people would be considered on this extreme edge. So
Everybody raise your hand.
yeah, I raise my hand. No.
I raise my hand.
Okay. Occam's
too.
razor. Occam's razor. I'm on the edge. Occam's
Yeah.
razor.
So
Yeah.
Mona has she's was a herbalist. So I don't know if she's still doing a lot, and probably personal. I don't know if she's still doing it for a living for other people or crafting. But that's a big deal. And then Barbara, so I'm not really sure about Barbara. I've never really met her, but what I saw that she wrote a book. So are you doing like death experiences?
Yeah. I do psychic work. I'm a professional psychic for 30 years. And then I have a online mystery school, the Esoteric University, where I teach psychic development.
Yeah, so that's pretty extreme. I mean, for the, mainstream, right? Eh, Mona, yeah. So
Nah, not
yeah,
today.
yeah. So and then Janet, so give us kind of a lowdown, kind of about what you're doing, and then I'll let Mona give a lowdown too, and then Teresa. But go ahead and give us a lowdown on
Yeah,
you.
I'm very psychic too, but I don't do any kind of professional work with people. I just am psychic. I'm an extraterrestrial contactee experiencer. I'm also a tantra teacher and educator. I do hypnotherapy with people hypnosis, and I'm way, way, way out there. Sometimes I'm so far out, I'm too far out for myself. So anyway, I come back to earth and ground myself and do these shows with people like you guys. And I'm not even awake, but I'm here.
Good. All right, Mona.
Um,
So give us. I was just gonna see. I forgot. I ran over Mona. So if Mona wanted to
yeah,
talk
go
about
back to
what
Mona.
she's doing,
I'm just existing, darling.
I know. All
That's
right.
all I can do. Making
Oh,
a living is really tough these days.
yeah, it is. Okay, Teresa. So what are you doing, kind of for a living, or your outreach, or
Okay.
that puts you on the fringe?
That put me on the fringe was I died and came back and became a shaman and looking for people in trees. So a lawyer said, "You need to get a job." So they gave me a job investigating. So that's how I made money most of my life. But after I got out in '84, I became a psychic based on the fact that I was doing all these weird things and people telling them things about themselves. So that's how I got into the psychic business. And that's what I've been doing. I wrote a bunch of books and I promote the Ascension Age is my call to fame. Ascension Age. And I did write for UFO Digest for years from 2007 forward. So my other thing was seeing UFOs and working with ETs. So I sort of blended it all together and called it cosmology and wrote a book, Knowing Cosmology, and a bunch of others. So that's my gig. And basically, I just do radio shows and promote events and websites and other people. I love people, but I like to see how we work together synergistically. That's why I'm so excited about this show.
Yeah. All right. So okay. So there's I've been kind of thinking about questions like what I want to do is I want to present some information for women, younger women who lately, for probably about the last year, I've been getting a lot of millennial women kind of into booking appointments and doing a lot of shamanism type work with them, because they're noticing things, but they're not putting a lot of it together. So I wanted to kind of do a show about women, about how we feel about like what's going on in the world, things that we do, um, choices that we've made in our lives for the type of work that we've done, the courage to be on the fringe, the courage to continue to move forward and educate ourselves and, be authentic and real, and let it all, out there. Also about things that we do to balance ourselves out. So do you guys want to start off? I'll start off with like Mona. Like, Mona, how do you feel about the world right now and what's going on?
Puff, puff, pass. Okay, now. It's all being taken over and run by the electronics. And that's the scary part because the children don't really, excuse me, they don't recognize that nature is part of the ingredient that holds all life together. And until we can instill that you can't just go to a store and buy a product and think it's going to work, because the whole power behind healing ourselves and getting our asses together is by going within and doing the work ourselves. And that's the scary part, is that they're all looking outside themselves for the answers when we, as the women who we are, know that that's not the way it goes. Over.
Over. Okay, so let's talk to Barbara. How do you feel about what's going on in the world right now?
Well, I feel like a lot of our freedoms are taken away. I feel like God, since where I grew up in the 50s, things have changed so much. I have a lot of concern for my grandkids, that they won't even know what they've missed. And that makes me sad and furious at the same time. So part of that would be finding a voice and putting it out there and keeping a heart open that optimistic. I'm an optimistic person, so I'm hoping by doing these shows and by taking action, whatever it is, some kind of action, then we'll get through this.
Well, we're setting examples too, because we are one of the first forerunners that built enough of a consciousness that they have permission to come and talk to us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think most of you are probably older than me. I might be the baby. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you probably
Well,
are.
how old are
I'm a half a century old.
Yeah, you're the youngest, I'm
Well,
pretty sure.
yeah, you're the baby.
You're the baby.
All right. Okay, so Janet, do you want to talk to us about how you feel about the world today?
Oh, I think we're in the perturbation, which is going to bring out the chaos, which is going to let us reorder at a higher level. So, in a way, I welcome it because we've been stuck in this negative mindset since, forever. But my father was in World War II, so I grew up with a PTSD family. My mother had suffered through the Great Depression, and so each generation has been affected by the wars and the generations before us. So I think it's time that we embrace the ascension age, and that means don't just sit there, do something, take action, do something, wrap your mind around it, become a global citizen, and talk about the issues. I'm not afraid of AI. I've actually been working with AI my entire existence, my entire life. um, I think that Minerva is the AI name that Heinlein gave to the internet. He described it back in the 70s before we even had laptops and PCs. And I've actually been working with extraterrestrial vehicles, and they are AI. They are um, self, self-aware, conscious, and I think a lot of AI, since it is intelligence recognizes consciousness, so they're conscious and they recognize other consciousness. So there's a lot of help out there in the universe. But our current global situation is revving up, and it's very difficult not to take a stance and not get upset about it because we are destroying a lot of species. It's destroying a lot of habitats by something. I don't want to, I don't know. Everybody gets all riled up and they start screaming global warming and not global warming, but yeah, we got the animals dying and the air is becoming unbreathable. And this is the hottest summer I've ever felt. It's been miserable. I normally don't need air conditioning, just fans here in Maui, but it's just been absolutely miserable. And the air feels like it's electronic. I talked to that lady who does the harp. She said that they've actually changed the air. It's now an electronic atmosphere. It's artificial. We used to have a natural atmosphere. So anyway, I'm going to pass the talking stick over. I can talk all day, but I'm just waking up.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
how Teresa, give us a lowdown of what you think about. I'm trying to just be the mediator, so that's what I'm doing. This show because I want to give people just different kinds of ideas about how we feel, what's going on, how we cope, and give people some ideas and thoughts, especially those younger women out there. So, Teresa, give us a lowdown on what you think about how you feel about the world and what's going on right now.
Okay, think and feel. I try to do both, bringing my mind with my heart. So I believe we're all about learning to go inner and outer, and it's a path, and that's what I learned to stay on a path and hopefully focus on the future, while occasionally looking in the rearview mirror, so to speak, to learn from our mistakes. So that's how I program my higher self, or my higher self programs my physical body, because I'm big into body, mind, health, spirit, and then I've added environmental and social. So that gives us a fivefold like our fingers. But uh, I'm doing my best to set a good example for my immediate family, which is not easy to do because that means you have to tolerate others around you. So I feel that for me, being one of the elders in our little superstar clan here, is the fact that we come together so we can help the future based on the now in this reality. And that sounds rather esoteric, but I am an esoteric person. So what I see in the virtual reality of I guess everybody's seen The Matrix, and it's used a lot in quantum superposition, so to speak. In other words, how we can be two places at one time. So this has made a whole new consciousness for the entire universal order, at least the one we're in, and that does include us each as a consciousness and connecting. Now, as a psychic, I will tell you in the 80s, we talked about the Akashic field, and there were a lot of famous people that helped out, especially for those of us that had had life after life. And of course, Raymond Moody made that well known. But I personally feel like that a lot of people don't understand how all of this works and that we're all students and teachers as an individual consciousness. But the reason I get excited about today and all of us coming together is this synergy and working together synchronistically, because it's like breathing air in and out. The Iceman, if you guys study him a little bit on how his partner died and he was real depressed and he learned just to breathe, and that sounds funny, but he also learned how to handle his body, and the ice cold has become very big on the YouTube among people, is the fact that things are changing and people like us and he and many are coming out at their old age to say this isn't all there is. So regarding what we were talking about, feeling technology or whatever this is that we're using technology, it's not going to go away. People couldn't hear us right now if it wasn't for technology. So I'm one of those that realizes there is nature, like we're all natural, we're biologicals and these containers, and we're also spirit. And I am one of those that believes we're all immortal because of I'm a believer in that we have a feeling inside us that is our soul, immortal soul, and that those that made us, there's a story in all of our ancient history on the planet. If we go backwards and follow what's been left in words, is the fact that we were made by those that are from the heavens came. And so if that is true, and all the religions we have point back to history, is the fact that we came from somewhere and that somewhere wasn't here. So that's about as philosophical as I can get with kids today, and I just tell them to trace their genealogy and go backwards. But I do see kids today playing more games, including my grandson. So it'd be good for me to try to keep my anchor with this reality, with family in 3D biologicals. But usually I like to talk about the cosmos and the bigger picture. So we're each a microcosm inside the macrocosm, but one has to have perspective in the largest and the smallest. And if you don't have that perspective, you lose reality in the virtual timeline. So I believe we as humans in humanity have created this timeline using time and gravity. And it throws people off a little bit. But Mother Nature will always take care of herself. She's alive and she's a soul, and she's going to take care of herself out here in the universe. So I'm willing to talk today about anything and everything. So
All
back to you,
right.
Bridget.
Okay, so what do you do? And I'll give you kind of a um, I talk a lot already on my YouTube channel about what I think, and what is going on. So I'll bypass that one. And so I'll kind of give an example. So what do you do? What are the top 3 things that you do in your daily activity to help you stay grounded, healthy, happy, manage your life, your stress, or whatever else? And there are several things that I do. One is always around diet. I try to always make sure that everything that I put in my mouth, I have, made. Number one thing. The second thing is that I always get outside in nature. And the third thing, I always make something. So for example, I might make, like a herbal tea blend. I might go out and pick plants and make some medicines. Maybe I make some oils and I'll do some plant infusions or tinctures, or maybe I'll make a hydrosol to spray on my face because, I need that plant for a period of time. So those are kind of like the main 3 things. Like, for example, too, one of the main things that I do in the morning, is have a smoking blend that I use, and it has like mugwort, mullein, lavender, rose petals, and blue lotus in it. This one was designed by some native friends of mine up in California, but then I can use that as the prayer to get my life together, get started, get my body healed, get my lungs breathing, for the to help with the endurance or whatever else that I'm going to have during the course of the day, or to try to balance myself out, waking myself up. So Mona, Mona, are you there?
I am definitely here.
What are you, like, the main three things that you utilize in your daily life, as a foundation for what you need?
Cannabis.
Cannabis, cannabis, and cannabis.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, it's all state of mind. It's the body, mind, and spirit. And I don't take anything in life personally. And if I have
Well,
a
you like to
moment,
use your singing bowls too, right? That's kind of a staple of your
well, that's
day.
at 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's every day at 3 o'clock when I'm doing my show. I ring my singing bowls. Well, they're Tibetan bowls. They're metal. They're beautiful. And
Okay.
just basically try to keep the peace.
So
And
your
that's
thoughts, you regulate and monitor your thoughts, and then you have
Are you
cannabis.
kidding? You've been on my show. You know better now.
I know. And then you use your singing bowl. So, you know,
I can't put anything my finger on it except the only thing I know I have is my bowl with my cannabis in it and my lighter.
okay.
And
Well,
then I
that's good.
I don't eat other fats. I eat my Happy Cow buttered can of butter. So I eat it as well. And basically, but yeah, the bowls are important because to me that's helping people subliminally with their root, their solar plex, and their heart chakras. And so I do. I ring them every day, 3 different times. So I bring them up and let them settle, and then bring them back down to root, and then take the root back up to their heart. And people don't recognize that I'm doing that for that. But yeah, okay. That's my subliminal effort while I'm on the radio to worldwide wake up the energies. And each one has a piece of shungite in it. And then I'll burn a ball. No.
All right. All right, Barbara, same question. What are maybe the top things you do for yourself, self-care, um, that you do daily? Could you talk to us about that?
Yeah, yeah, I have kind of a routine. I try not to get in a routine, but when you get my age, you kind of get some routines because you find some things that work. And for me, the first thing before I get out of bed, I do, it's really silly, but I do 10 things I'm grateful for. Because I had someone tell me that, and he says, if you do that, you'll find that you're more happy. And I think for me that works. So I find 10 things before I get out of bed. That's my number one. And then I do a meditation every day because it's what keeps me not from going crazy from everything that's around me that's like the chaos that Janet talked about. And so, and I'm careful of my, I've been working on reprogramming my really working on that and what consciousness is. So I do my research and pioneer work, and not me being a pioneer, but checking out. I try and learn something every day. I hang out with my girlfriends, or at least talk to them, because I think that's important. Dance around, but every day I do set my space. My home is like a temple, so I set it at temple because I'm by myself with my little dog Mary Margaret, and I do a sage bowl and different herbs depending on what I feel like, and I set my sage for my stage in my home for protection and love and good health and all those good juju things, you know. So um, that's probably it. But
Okay.
music's important. Music for me too.
Awesome. Okay, so all right. Janet, same question. What are, maybe you could even, announce more, but what are the top three things that you use in your daily foundation, that helps you to take care of you, to ground you, and get the work done that you need to do?
I usually get up and I grab my I grab my iPad and my cell phone because the world's been strong and I've been sleeping. So I get up and I see what's happening in the world. I usually have a lot of emails and contact and communication, and I just check in with the world. There may be people I have to call. I usually do a couple hours of free therapy with people, and I end up calling people. I call my sister. I get up and I go in and I talk to my husband. He's been up for quite a while. We typically have a book or something we're working on, and I go in and talk to him about what's going on with me personally. Typically, I'm doing some kind of astral travel at night, so I'm integrating. I do a lot of work at night on other planets. I know it sounds weird, but this is my life. And I come in and I discuss. I was on this planet. I do some dream analysis. I do some analysis of where I was, and we integrate what's going on in the world and what I can do personally to be to affect it. Because like I said earlier, don't just sit there, do something. And I one of my favorite book is Ender's Game, and so Ender and his sister basically by integrating their thoughts and inputs into the internet of existence was able to effectively make a change and save the planet. So I get my guiding myth and I access my archetype and I identify with Nimma, the mother goddess Anunnaki, who birthed humanity, was the geneticist that created humanity, that maintained the peace. So she's a very strong guiding influence in me, in my life, and so I access my Nimba. And what would Nimba do today? So I'm looking at it on the global level, and there are many things we can do. We might think we're little and we're small, we're only this little human being, but we can all act on the personal and interpersonal and the global level to affect this world. So I show power. There's things I must do. Let's see. I take frequent naps if I get tired. I've been recovering from a year-long illness, maybe it's lifelong, called IBS, and I go, wow, irritable bowel syndrome. I am irritated to my bowel. So don't just sit there, do something. I'm usually, like I said, working on the books. I'm always educating myself. I'm doing research. I've got a library full of about 2,000 or 3,000 books. I've got the current information, and so, like I said, working on a project. And when I get done with this one, I'm looking at. I have a sponsor. I'm going to buy some more land. We're going to set up a healing retreat center here. Everybody's been saying we want to come to Maui to a healing retreat center. And one day last week, these people called me and they said, "Hey, we want to help you get a healing retreat center started in Maui." And so I'm looking. Working also on doing experiencer retreat center, or not retreat, no, not retreat center, experience retreat on some place on the mainland where we're going to go inward, like shamanic journeying, and take ourselves down to our core issues, be it extraterrestrial or past life or current life. And I like doing psychotherapy with people. So I like, to me, that's like, who can watch TV? I mean, why watch TV? Why read books? Just take somebody down into their story. I think they're accessing the Akashic record. But whenever you work with somebody, and anybody in the room, everybody's stuff gets activated, and we all work on each other on a psychic level and a spiritual level, just by facilitating the person that agrees to go inward and go on a sacred journey into the Akashic records, and you help them unravel the mystery themselves and heal and evolve, and then you do the next person. So we're probably going to do that in the spring. Probably do a week long, and we're trying to find a venue now. So I'm always doing something. Just don't just sit there, do something. Okay, done. Over.
Okay. All right. So Teresa, same question. what are the, you know, major foundations, maybe three, minimum of three things that you do in your daily day to help you cope or ground yourself, or what are those things that you do?
Well, being that I've go ahead. Somebody want to say something? I heard somebody.
I unmuted. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I am a labeled myself a precognitive and I am a recluse. So I live alone with my dog and but yet I have two family members that are staying with me for the way the world is right now, funding for my family. So I pretty much stay a recluse and I listen to relaxing music because I have a high stress level based on the fact that whatever I pick up, I'm not bragging. This is not. You can say it's a gift, but to others, it's not. I'm very, very sensitive, so I do most of my work at night, traveling, and then during the day, I have my little crystals and my little crystal pyramid here for personal, making me feel good. But I'm a pyramid person. I'm right here. I've got my little sphinx and my crystal pyramid, and then I've got some flowers that are gifted to me pretty much every week to remind me of nature. But I have a pretty little yard. Yeah, I can go in the front or the back. But I have really nice trees and squirrels and lots of cats. Not mine, but they're feral, and just lots of animals around me. So I live in a really perfect place here in Florida, in Gulf Breeze, with water on both sides of me. So I feel where I'm at all the time. It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful creation where I'm at. So I don't have to worry too much physically about my body and where I am. I'm pretty well anchored to a 3D reality in a situation that looks normal to most people. I don't get out much. I should make myself go to the ocean more, but I have gone through lately many deaths being a caregiver. So it set me back somewhat in the spiritual global cosmos because all the people I love have been passing, even my younger daughter. So I'm pulling myself back up by the bootstraps again. So I'm very thankful for this show because I need to go out and we all have needs and we need to meet. But for my own physical reality, I just basically drink a lot of water, a minimum of 8 a day, usually more than that. So, I don't have to really think about my physical reality like a lot of people. So I don't. I don't have to put a lot of energy into that. However, I do have to work on, if you say three things, is I don't really worry so much about my physical reality. I don't have that stress unless it's around people that come in immediately into my life. And for some reason, being a precog or one that has lived many lives and know it, I know the stress they're going through and I immediately pick up and I don't want to pick up their issues, but that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to do the best I can to stay 3D and in a physical body as long as I can to help the people that do call me on a daily basis or do ask me to help them with their businesses. So I'm doing my best just to help people on a cosmic level. And I know that sounds funny, but that's what I do every day. That's who I am. I don't have to worry about my 3D reality unless people want me to go to an event, but I've fortunately only gone like to Memphis and here in Gulf Breeze to events, but I want to get out more. So basically at night I have right now I pulled up angelic healing music for deep sleep, 1111 hertz, and sometimes I do 432. And I've noticed if I don't have the music, I wake up and my brain starts thinking. So when I go to sleep at night, if I'm not traveling, then I come back and my brain starts thinking. So I have to do meditations and I use prayers. So as far as rituals go, I use prayers and I use water, I guess you'd say, and meditation. I do a lot of out of body astral travel and I do a lot of connecting with other souls. And so that keeps me aware that I'm part of the larger awareness. I don't know if that's 3 or more, but roughly gives you a picture of who I am anyway.
Awesome. All right. So one of the things that I do, so I'm going to be asking, what is the question that you think people are missing? So, for example, I believe that as long as I'm continuing to ask questions, that the creator will give me the answer. It may take a couple seconds, it may take a couple days, it may send me like a period of education or situations and events to actually teach me because there's no vocabulary for the answer that I'm seeking. So one of the things that I do, a lot of my 2 questions that I think that nobody asks that should be asking of the universe, and it could be, you know, asking whoever or whatever. But when I go out into nature, I go out to the areas that, you know, I'm collecting herbal medicine from. And so I try to go out there, look at them seasonally. What are you doing? They're like my children, you know, like, oh, look at you, you're going to seed. Oh, look at you, you're flowering. And looking at the environment and the soil. And these are things that I do a lot of, smelling the plants, seeing where they're at, what's going on with them, the change of season. So yesterday I was talking to a bunch of the plants in this one area and the environment along the river. And, you know, it's the same question I always ask. I have 2 questions. How can I help? What can I do?
Oh,
And so that way I can work with the environment and it can tell me, or the creator that who created it originally can tell me, you know, how to help the environment. For me, it's all about the environment. I could travel to other worlds, I can do all this other stuff, but the only thing for me personally that matters is the environment. And that's why I'm doing herbal medicine. That's why I do large scale land restoration. It's why I go out and I make medicines to actually restore soil so that it will clean up the air, it'll clean up the water, and that nature will be able to fight back against anything electronic. Um, and being able to wake those spirits up, you know, that have been in a long slumber to get back into the game. And it kind of reminds me of like the Lord of the Rings, you know, when the hobbits are trying to talk to the Ainses, the tree beings, and they're like, no, well, we'll have to have a conversation about this. It'll take us 200 years to have a conversation about this. Oh, don't worry, little hobbits. And then when they walk out to the edge and they see the mass destruction, you know, from the darkness, taking all the resources and everything, they just totally throw down and, you know, immediately start running into the fight. And so that's how I feel about some of the older trees in nature, is that some of them have been asleep for taking a nap for 100 years or 50 years, and they're waking up going, whoa, what the heck is going on?
right.
What's going on? What's going on here? And so I'm being able to say, hey, I'm here when you wake up, and let's talk, you know, and what can I do for you? You know, what do you need? Sometimes they have me run out and find things for them and bring it back so that they can read energies off certain things in different kinds of environments. They can talk. Sometimes they like to have a stone that's brought. I had a 500-year-old cedar tree that I was working with a few years ago that called me to this forest where she was hidden, and she woke up after 200 years and was just like, whoa, what's going on with the water? What's going on with the air? And it was like, oh, she say, can you go to a deep place where there's never been a drought, you know, and get a stone from the bottom, you know, get a stone out of there so that I can read the stone? And can you bring the stone back to me so that I can read the energy about the water? You know, the stone is going to tell me what's going on with the water so that I can help participate and, you know, moving water, getting water back, and talking to all my children, you know what I mean? And the children even go down into the microbial mass, right? The trees are pulling down the information from the cosmos when they're awake. But anyway, so the questions that always seem to come to me, no matter where I'm working or what I'm doing, that I think that not enough people ask are, how can I help? And what can I do? Instead of going like into shock stress mode about things, like when there's super heavy chem spray. Um, and I just talk to the environment. I talk to the creator, like, what can I do? What can I help with? You know, I'm open and and I'm ready to steward. So just tell me what needs to be done and I'll run around and do it. So Mona, do you have any like questions that you don't think that people are asking either the universe or each other or even asking themselves? Do you have any questions that you think are important that people should be asking?
Well, all I can say is so much has been geared towards fear. And that they have not learned how to recognize the difference or that they're allowed to make a choice. They are just so stuck in the grind that they won't allow themselves to become free and do like great adventures like you were talking about. I talk to my plants every day. I talk to the hummingbirds. I feed the blue. I mean, to me, life is the most vital thing that we need to become more aware of and to expound that we must bring love back instead of all this materialism of illusion that is, yeah, okay, a reality, but it look like the right reality to me. You know what I mean? So I go out and I take 3 shungite nuggets and a business card for the radio station and one about the 5G dangers. And what's the other one I give? Cosmic reality. Because to me, if we use the tools like the rocks, like you're saying, and I use a lot of shungite, I have shungite everywhere, and basically that we can take our power back, and people are afraid of it, that they don't think that they belong and that they're not worth being here. But we all belong, and we're all worth being here, no matter what level, no matter what belief system. Let go of all that and find your inner being. I love the idea of the cedar tree. Oh, I'm so jealous, Bridget. Over.
Okay. Hey, so earlier I heard electronic voice, like a weird one, and so I'm just gonna tell that being like, if they want to, communicate and we hear them electronically, we'll shut up and let them say whatever they want to say at some point. So anyway, just in case, the original AI is trying to get in on the conversation. Okay. So I know that sounds pretty strange for people out there in the mainstream, but it's just how probably most of us on this show operate. Um, okay, so I'm going to toss it to Barbara. Sorry, she's having some feedback issues, but all right, Barbara. So the question is like, what is the question do you think people should be asking? Just in case, the creator, Oh, I got a feedback now too. Get in on the conversation. Okay. So I know that sounds pretty strange for people out there in the mainstream, but it's just how probably most of us on this show operate. Okay, so I'm going to toss it to Barbara. Sorry, she's having some feedback issues, but all right, Barbara. So the question is like, what is the question do you think people should be asking? Just in case, the creator. Oh, I got a feedback now too. Get in, Okay, so it's like it's like reverse. Like I say something and then it waits a few minutes and then it actually plays it.
Yeah.
On this show operate.
Maybe I should.
Okay, so I'm gonna toss it to Barbara. Sorry, she's having some feedback issues, but all right, Barbara. So okay, I'm not really sure how to fix what's going on right now. It's kind of bizarre. Just in case.
I know it is kind of bizarre.
Get in. Okay, so it's like reverse. Wow, it's looping. It waits.
You guys sound great to me. I don't hear anything
Exactly.
I
different.
hear
get it
myself
reversed.
looping in the background.
Maybe I should.
Okay, so
I have 5G.
Barbara, sorry, she's having some feedback. I'm hardwired plugged in. This is weird.
The 5G is the issue because you called the AI the microwave demon.
Right. All right, AI, back out.
I don't know because all y'all sound clear to me.
Okay, it's hard to talk because when I'll say something, I'll get done saying it, and then it'll repeat it back to me, the same thing.
Is your sound down on your computer?
Everything's good. No
in the
problem.
back.
All right,
it's at
Barbara,
the station.
I have 5G.
it's the is it the station, Mona?
I have to say it's a station because I was
5G
hearing.
is the issue because you called the AI, the microwave
See, you're
penis.
just repeating.
Right. All right, AI, back out.
Okay, so is it the station? I'm trying to figure it out. I can't figure out what's going on.
Well, yesterday I had
And then
quarters of my 2 hours done and the station went completely down.
Your computer?
The internet went down. I'm not saying that we're not being hacked.
station.
I mean, now that they
Okay.
know Mike's gone,
Isn't
Yeah,
this
hold on a second. I think Barbara's gonna,
because I'm
yeah, we'll hang Barbara up and then we'll call her back and just see what happens. Let me see. There we go. Okay, let me add her back. Let me go back. Oh, hey, it stopped.
Yeah, it was her.
it was
Yeah.
fun.
She's got something going on. She's got
Where
some.
is she at? Is she the one in
California.
Hawaii?
Okay, let me get her back on. Oh, wait. Yeah, that was weird. That was some really weird stuff.
Just feedback, probably.
Yep. Okay, here, let me
She
try.
uses her phone, I think. See if
Oh,
she's on
yeah.
her cell phone
Okay, let's
versus
see.
a computer.
Yeah, maybe it'll be better. At least we know what it is and where it's coming from. So we'll get her back on. Okay, now we'll see how it is.
Yeah, but where is she located physically?
California.
That's
they
funny
have a,
where you have to say that. Where is she located physically?
yeah, in 3D.
Yeah, it looks like it's not really going to answer. So let's move to Janet. Is there any questions that you think people should be asking themselves or asking the universe or asking them each other? Are there any questions that you ask a lot of? Janet?
Take yourself off mute, Janet. I see you're on mute.
I muted. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I was eating breakfast so I can get more grounded. Yeah, well, basically, what can I do is a very good question. And I'll wait for guidance. So we were talking about nature. I live in Maui, Hawaii, at the foothills of the West Maui Mountains. And the mountains here are known as the home of the gods. They're very, very ancient. Maui is two volcanoes joined by an isthmus. And so the one I'm at is the oldest of the two. And it's the wettest spot on earth. It used to be Kauai. It moved about 5 years ago to right behind my house. So I live in nature. I have my windows open every day and doors, so I'm breathing natural air. So I'd recommend everybody get out and do that, like you said. And one of the things you can do is ground yourself by literally taking off your shoes and socks and putting your feet in the sand, in the soil. So, and then get into that quiet space. What can I do? And then allow for the answer. I usually, when I'm getting caught up with the turmoil of existence, which I'm dealing with my own stuff and other people's problems, I will go take a nap, which is like a meditation. It's like reset. Okay, I'm going to go reset. I'm going to shut off all the input. I'm going to go receive because I've asked the questions. I pray. Prayer is meditation, and prayer is asking, right? And meditation is receiving. So I ask, what can I do? And then I come out and recharge. If things are really bad, I go take a shower. So getting underwater, just having the water pour over me. So yes, there's something we can do. The worst case scenario with all this fear-based stuff that's going around is we die. But we've been dead before. So, imagine yourself dead. Go to the worst case scenario. Crank it up in your mind, and then see what happens. We're dying all the time. We come back all the time. We are in many forms, many places. There are many worlds, and we're simultaneously existing in many worlds. Planes, existence, vibratory frequencies. That's one of the things I've learned from all my spiritual work is, go ahead and panic if you want. Experience panicking. Just do it, max it out, and then just let it go. Okay, what was that like? Okay, yeah, okay. So that's what we do in our therapy practice. Instead of because what is repressed, instead of repressing it, what is repressed becomes demonic. We go, what does that need? What does that voice need that is running around like a chicken with head cold? What does the planet need that we're going into this hyper panic mode? You know, and we're polarizing existence. We're demonizing. These are the bad people, the demons, the black hats, the Democrats, Republicans, the boogeymen. You know, the reptilians, the what's the other ones? You know, the board, whatever you want to call it. But everything is
Oh, hey,
all one
Janet.
at the highest level. That's what I
Janet,
do. Next question. Go ahead. Yes.
awesome.
Uh huh.
Hey, we're at commercial. We're at the top of the hour
Oh
commercial. It's
shoot.
gone so fast. So just mute out everybody. We'll come back at one after. Thank you.
We're back.
All right, everybody. Thanks, Mona, for the help. All right, so everybody, you're listening to the Wednesday edition of Carrying Stones and Digging Holes radio show. The Wednesday edition is noon EST to um, 2 p.m. EST. My Saturday edition show, Carrying Stones and Digging Holes radio show on Revolution Radio, is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, also, pump up the funding. So we are 100% listener supported. We need your help more than ever these days. Our founder and owner and operator of Revolution Radio passed away, and we are doing everything that we can to keep Revolution Radio online. And the main thing that's going to make the difference and make that happen is funding. So please go to support us on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, and you can kick us a few bucks. You could do a monthly, kick us a few bucks. You can do advertising, archives, heirloom seeds, any and everything possible. And we really highly appreciate you for that. All right, so I'm having a ladies roundtable, and actually it's really fun. I was super nervous about it. I was like, wow, I'm going to have these women on that have all these, kind of strong feelings and experiences and personalities, and how am I going to rein them in like I'm the cattle dog and they're like the cattle running around. And the good news is it hasn't really turned out to be that.
Moo.
I know.
Oh,
But-
she's just so wanting it so perfect. Are you a Virgo?
What, me? No, but I do have Virgo ascending with Pluto smack dab on it. So
Oh, fun, fun, fun.
yeah, so I am very organized.
Girl, yeah, but you always are seeing it tear down and come back up. And it's still, you're figuring out it's your choice on which way you're going to go. And I think that's how all us ladies, women, have been getting through it all, because we all are empathetic. We're feeling the fear, and we've got to produce the love no matter what it is. It's either a smile, a pat on the back, but don't carry it along with you, because we don't need that 3D caca as a residue on us, because we're stronger than that, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, and that's why we're still standing. No, I'm just kidding. We're still
Right
standing.
now. Oh,
So okay, so Mona, give us a quick pop for your show, Mona Radler, and she has a show called
Oh, it's Adventures of a Feral Hippie. I'm in my 6th year, Studio B, 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time. And
on Revolution Radio.
Well, that's where we're at. I'm sure most people know that.
Okay, so I'm going to have Barbara give us a quick pop, her name and her show. Give us a quick one.
Okay, it's the Cosmic Oracle Show on Friday nights from 8 to 10 in Studio B on Revolution Radio.
Awesome. Janet, give us a little pump on your show.
Sacred Matrix Sundays 8 to 10, Studio B, and Stargate to the Cosmos Tuesdays 8 to 10, Studio B.
On Revolution Radio. All right, and Teresa, give us a quick pump on yours.
Okay, I do TJ Mars ET radio on all kind of places out there, but I work with a mad painter who has got Monday night and Sunday morning. So everybody know a mad painter, T.R. Becker, and we work together getting the word out about Revolution radios and ACO radios. So any way we can help, people
Awesome.
Just give us a call.
Awesome. So we kind of got cut off. I just wanted to go back to Janet if she wanted to continue commenting on, the questions that we should be asking ourselves, or if she was done, because she kind of got cut off at the commercial last time. So I just was going to check in to see if she had anything to add on that, and then we'll move on to the next person with the same question.
I don't remember where I was or
That's
what.
That's okay.
I'm in the now.
Thank
Just got a
you.
fresh cup of tea. Somebody else, it'll come back, or it's
Okay.
all perfect in the divine plan. So next person.
All right,
Thank
Barbara.
you.
So, Barbara, we were talking about, how I would go out in nature and, the questions that I think more people should be asking the creator and everything. And are how can I help and what can I do? What kind of questions do you think are important that people should be asking now? And do you have questions that you routinely ask yourself to get
Oh,
information for?
well, I usually try and do what scares me the most. So I try and stretch myself and keep myself open and in tune, and it would be what scares me the most. And I really tried to do that this last year, um, doing things that I normally don't do, that would stretch me and make me grow and make me change and transform and not get comfortable. And that was moving again. I seem to move a lot. So I kind of follow where it takes me, the intuitive part. And it's not like where I go where I'm told all the time. I do have a strong voice in my own life, but I do listen to my guides and what's going on and kind of decipher. It's not a straight line from A to Z. The journey it's very soft and winding and very goddessy and in tune with the feminine energy and the earth itself. But on the outside, from a 3D world, to look at my life and the way it's unfolded, they all think I'm like way out there and crazy and sporadic. But they've watched me, like my family, for over 30 years now, and I had to find my respect for myself, and that I was a little different, and I was not the normal, and that I was okay with that. In fact, that there was a lot of fun in that and a lot of freedom in that. And so I try and do that, and then I try and do something creative as much as I can. That's when I feel like I'm the closest with the connection with everything. I'm starting a first time drawing class tomorrow, and I've never done that. I've always promoted people. I love promoting people and helping other people, but it's a way that I get to explore, um, is by painting myself starting tomorrow. So
I'm excited for you.
I'm excited about it. Like a 10-year-old again, right? Like, fudge, I don't know what I'm doing or how to do it. It'll be really fun. It's like the fool's card in the tarot, where you're jumping off the cliff again. Yay!
But it's also something that we've forgotten because life is a childish innocence if we can put it out there. And we've forgotten that we don't have to have all these responsibilities. Even though we're able to respond, it doesn't mean we have to take it on as ours. And you painting, I kept thinking somebody's going to be painting. And it's because we need that newness. Even if it's where you take a right all the time, no, take a left this time.
Mm.
And it's that simple on just putting the variety of the childish whims together. As long as there's no harm, like fast food, McDonald's, and stuff like that, everybody will be okay.
Yeah, we got this, right? We got this.
All right, so same question to Teresa. Are there questions that you routinely ask yourself that you're looking for information from? And what kind of questions do you think, the people out there should be asking and to try to get the answers that, are really important for the times?
Well, you really are organized. I thought after that commercial break and everybody that you'd forget me.
Brilliant. Yeah,
Nah.
she's on top of it here.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Uh, what I do is every day it's something I started with my daughter that's now passed. When we woke up, we were thankful for just being above ground. I know that sounds funny, but she wanted her body underground, and so we honored that. She's underground now instead of the ashes. But while you're here in physical, what I feel like people should ask is just why? That just keeps you going. But at the same time, it can be frustrating if you're not growing. So I do my best to remember I'm part of divinity. And that keeps me in a physical form, knowing that I'm here for a purpose, because it's so easy to forget why are we here. So I just tell people to look for their whys. And at the same time, I tend to assist people when they ask me to. So I've learned not to give information unless one asks for it, like on this radio show. So being who you are, they say that those that know, and they don't have to talk. So those that don't will search out. So I've gone with that. It's sort of like saying those that can do and those that can't teach. So that's a philosophy. But, it's like if you can't help others, then please don't hurt them. So developing your own philosophy is a big part of being who we are. And I do my best to just remember that we're not just biological or half human or bodysuit, but the part that's divine, and do one's best to ask divinity or whatever one's prays to, or God or goddess or both, or the all one source. You hear it specified by different nomenclatures or feelings, but just do your best to feel good, and hope that while you're here and you go back, that you'll have good things to see that you did for yourself and others. So I believe in being service to others, although I do realize that everybody out there has their own path, and no one can walk in another human's shoes. So everybody has their own energy and their own consciousness and their own God or goddess or higher soul. And so if I can do anything, it's to help people get in touch with their inner spirit, maybe between the biological and the soul. So, I've always believed in the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, and got on that path back in '84, but didn't start teaching it till '89 in Hawaii. And then I've slacked off for 20 or 30 years and been doing books and radio shows. But now I'm coming back into full peace. I know I can go at any time, but that's okay because I've done it so many times before. So hopefully people will get in touch with they're here such a short time. It's just a blink of an eye. So I'm learning a lot from other people that are conscious on the planet. So the internet's been really good to me. So to be quite honest, I live in the internet in a lot of ways, and helping people that want to help me. So it's been I love what we're doing. I love synergy, and I know sound is healing. Our sound can be poison. So I have been studying that sound, what we're talking about right now. We can nourish ourselves or we can poison ourselves.
Are you finding yourself humming every now and then? You'll just get this hum and you have to hum.
Hum?
Yeah.
I'm not a hummer. Are you a hummer?
No,
I laugh a lot.
I'm more of a laughing person.
Yeah, I'm a laughing person. I love to laugh. It's very healing.
Hums are important, though. If you ever remember when you were a child and you didn't want to hear what's going on outside of yourself, you'd put your fingers in your ears and you'd hum. So,
my sister does that to this day. Brenda, she was a nurse, and she'll go la 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 and put her fingers in her ears when she didn't want to hear me as a little kid. So when you said that, that's what happened. Come to mind. Yeah, I grew up with a sister that taught me that one, so I never did.
It's finding our internal vibration to where we can center ourselves within an instant of no matter what's happening outside of ourselves. When you find your inner hum. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's important to sing your song even if you're out of tune, but it's for yourself. You're not singing it for other people. That's the perfect way of putting it. You're finding your own hum. You're finding your tune. I recently picked up karaoke on the internet. Boy, I need to sing more. You lose your voice if you don't use it.
I do know my key. You know, I am a Broadcast Music Incorporated member, BMI, out of Nashville, New York. But I do know that I sing in E flat, and that was really bad on the bluegrass people when we were writing songs because I wrote Bluegrass Train a Coming, and the people in they usually put everything in D because it's easy, okay? Especially bluegrass in Kentucky, where I grew up the last 20 years with my husband, 40 to 60 years old. But it's so funny. I didn't know we had a certain key, but after working with music most of my life in elementary school, junior high, high school, and then with musicians, I had E flat. They didn't like that. So we all can find what our tune is. But I learned that Mother Nature is E flat. So that's sort of with the crickets and the frogs and all that. So
Oh.
I was sort of cool about that. So everybody finds your
Very
key,
cool.
meaning what you sing in. In other words, it's sort of like finding, musicians will help you, but that's sort of cool. But yeah, I guess that would be my hum is in E flat.
Yeah, I think that's my hum is E flat out there with the trees. All right, so next question. And I'm going to preface it with kind of like, you know, how I deal with things. I'm a super awesome person, probably because I'm empath. Um, I do have a stellium in a Libra, so I have a tendency to know what people need, long before they need it. Um, and so when I say this, I don't want people to think that I'm not a sweet person. I can be tough, but I always talk to people about their languaging and how we use language and the limited languaging. And I have total issues with the word love. And I get kind of crunchita about how, the answer is love. And, I'm not a very kumbaya kind of person. So one of the words that it has taken me a while to figure out that works best for me, that is ultimately like the best kind of vibration, and the word that attaches to it is joy. And how I came about this was that in 2007, I had finished a program that did a manual reboot to the brain. And I finished that program, and I was getting ready to leave Texas because was living there. And so I did one of these dream board things because that's what was big back then. And so I put together this dream board with all these pictures of these people's expressions. And it didn't really have anything on there. There was like no cars, there was no relationship. It was mostly about how I wanted to feel in my future, how I want to feel on a daily basis was the target. And there was this one picture in particular of this woman who they won the gold. The soccer team during that period won the gold, the US soccer team. And the one girl ran out into the middle of the field, and there's this one, like, picture where she rips off her shirt down to her sports bra, and she has this look on her face with her hands in the air, and she's on her knees in the grass. And, I put that dream board, in my baggage, and I went home, and went all into storage. And it was about 4 or 5 years later, I started digging through the storage because I had to get rid of stuff because I've been living in my car. So it was just time to like start downsizing. And I got to that picture, and I realized, like, at the time that I made it, I didn't know what the expressions on the people's faces were because I didn't really have people in my life that experience joy, like raw joy, and that's the word. And then I looked at the picture, and it was the moment where I finally put together what the expression went with, which was the emotion of joy. So my key word, what I want to experience and what I want to express is joy. So I try to move away from the word love. So the question is to Mona, what words do you like to use to convey the kind of feelings that you want to have with yourself and the world, and maybe a little bit of a download on that? Okay, Mona, are you there?
I am here, but I take every moment as a moment so I don't have to place a label on what it is that I'm feeling. Basically, there's three different descriptions of love, but I do believe that it has to be an unconditional love because if we put conditions on emotions and energies, it could multiply in a disharmonic manner. So, because people assume they recognize what the communications are, but they don't. And I mean, okay, I'll give you an example, just jumped into my mind. When I would do these shows in my herbalist that I did for 40 years, and basically I had a market booth, and every time the mental institution would bring a van out to the flea market, this guy, they'd have to watch him because he knew spiritually to gravitate towards me for some reason. And he had to come and lay his head on me and hug me and things like that. Now, I could have been offish about it, but I got a drift that the man needed something. But every time they came to the market, he had to do that. So if I would have had another energy in the way, I would have not been able to give him something in return that he really, really needed. So that brings joy. You know, joy's like an aftermath of everything else that's going a-okay to me. But as you know, words to me do have energies and meanings and creates, because I will try to not let anybody tell me they're sorry. Because as you know, in the Native American language, there is no word for sorry. Because we believe that life is a flow of energies, not disciplined and discipled situations that actually we miss so many occurrences that just share the unconditional love because we have to put a label on it. And that's what's scary to me. Go ahead.
Okay, so Barbara, same question. What word do you like to convey, or words that you like to use to express how you want your life to be and how it is expressed to other people and how you want to feel?
Okay. Yeah, I'm all about the love, baby. I'm I'm a love person. It's if you know me, that you're going to hear probably the word love in a few sentences after you meet me, because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the love, and Mona's right. It's unconditional love. It's about the where we're connected through that love bond, through that
Yeah.
heart to heart, and when we talk to each other, it's spirit to spirit. It has nothing to do with the body. Sometimes we get to connect on this huge level, and it's through love and it kind of represents all that's good in the world, and we can't lose that. There's a part of us that is so magnificent and amazing and powerful and mysterious and exciting, and I always want to be a part of that, and then take that knowingness, that beingness, that lusciousness, that divine nectar of the gods and goddesses of the cosmos, and then put that in action to help change some crap around here that needs to be changed. So I'm all about the love.
Nurturing, that's what it is too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
All right, Janet, question to you. Word or words that you use to describe how you feel, how you want to live, how you want to be in your life every day, and how you want that to reflect onto the outside world.
Well, yeah, I'm all about love too, and love leads to joy, and joy leads to bliss. And I've had all of my life, and yeah, learning about unconditional love will lead you to joy. Love will lead you to joy and bliss. So I've tantra practice. I'm a tantra practitioner, and I founded the World Tantra Association. I had the conferences at Harbin Hot Springs for 8 years. And one of the things we did, I got married at the celebration of Eros to my husband at Harbin Hot Spring in 1997. So one of the things we do is what's called a puja. In a puja, you have an inner circle of people, and they rotate around. An outer circle rotates around. So you're looking outward in the circle, and the outside circle is looking in. And it's facilitated, and you only get like a couple, I don't know, seconds with each other because there's 200 people. You got to get through, you know, 100 people you're going to look. But all you do is you have a moment, and there's some words said by the facilitator that connects you with the person in front of you, and you look into each other's soul through the right eye. The right eye is like the direct connection to the soul. And so in these pujas that I've done hundreds of them, um, I just see the being before me, and I end up, but most people end up like in this state of tears just running down your face and smiles, and you see every race, color, creed. You don't know their story, you just see their souls, and it's very pure, and it's a form of enlightenment. So I think I call it samadhi. I've experienced it, and I've experienced it over and over, and I've done a lot of my work on my wounds, and I've owned it, and I processed it. I think one of the things we can do to heal the world is to go in and own our shit and process it, and bless the world for the shit, because it does make you grow and evolve if everything was peaceful, and then reprogram it. Do your own personal reprogramming. If each person on this planet, or even just a critical mass amount of people, would do their own shit and own it and stop projecting it on the apparent other and demonizing them, then we would all enlighten and evolve and become into the state of samadhi, unconditional love and bliss. And I have been blessed, and I would go biblical. I am a woman, above all women. I have experienced this bliss, and I am blessed, and I've been in these states of where I'm just laughing so high that I shoot out of my crown chakra, and I'm traveling in the cosmos, and I'm literally high-fiving with source that assumes the form of a big hand, reaching out to high-five me in a smiley face type of thing, because I'm a human being and I need something to wrap my mind around, right? But I've experienced this. I'm blissed out. I'm ecstatic, and so yeah, just remember that we're all pure. We all are pure love at our heart. We're going through this stuff. We've agreed to come down here. We're all warriors. We're boots on the ground. We're here at the lowest level of physicality. The furthest away from oneness and source. We're here in the deepest, darkest, densest area to experience for all the cosmos, all creation, and we're doing it. We're creating it. And congratulations, each and every one of us. I'm done. Next person. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Teresa, you're up next. So any words that you use or language to convey how you want to present yourself to the outside world and how you want to feel every day?
I want to feel divine love, compassion with the cosmos. I call it the cosmos connection, but my word is compassion, because I understand your word for love, but I was brought up in the South where God is love. And, we sang in our churches, praise Him, all you little children. But as a child, I always wondered why it was just Him and not Mother Goddess too. So in the balance, I learned that it's not just God is love, but I had to learn the dualistic society that God, and there was a male and female. So gender came into it. So I learned a lot of things from reading the ancient scriptures. So love became compassion with communication for me, learning how to read, and so teaching myself. So love became learning how to love oneself inside the divine matrix or inside the divine cosmos, because I wanted that. Where's God? I was like, why are we here? Where's God? So that love and compassion to me always went back to the divine, because that's what I felt. I couldn't see it, taste it, touch it, and all that. But then I learned from other beings older than me. I learned to love my elders and to learn what they were teaching me. So they'd hand me the Bible, or I later learned the Quran, the Kabbalah, and the Bhagavad Gita, and you name it, I've read it. Emerald Tablets, Enoch, you name it. So I learned to communicate was also learning, and compassion was the big word, because if you didn't have compassion for all that's come before and all that'll come after, it was like being not in the river of life, so to speak. So moving reality for me is love. And the word for me, I love the word love and compassion, but my mantra with the people that work with me in the ACO or Ascension Center organization is live, laugh, learn. It's live first, laugh second, learn. So live, laugh, learn, then love. And then the fifth one is leave a legacy. So live, laugh, learn, love, leave a legacy, 5 L's. So that's for me is having compassion for all of humanity, because if you lead with your divinity, because we're in a left right we need to be whole brained. So I had to teach myself how to love myself, even though I made mistakes according to humanity by having a child and having to get married at 15. I had to learn how to love myself and love my children and go into the military and leave my children behind and get divorced and all the things in the Cinderella complex I was taught. So I had a long road ahead of me and a lot of obstacles as a woman doing men's jobs because I wanted to be a law enforcement officer. I wanted to be an investigator, and I wanted to work for the government. And I wanted to travel and be a James Bond woman and all the things. And I did it. And I learned that I could do anything as long as I believed in divine guidance and the divinity. So it was not all things are possible. So if I had to have something on my headstone, the one word would be compassion or compassionate. So if they didn't know my name, I'd want them to learn compassion. And the second would be love. But it's funny because at one time I would never have said that. I would have thought love was all there is because I learned God is love. I don't know why I didn't learn goddess is love, but that's a whole philosophical, we can get off on words and communication. So I appreciate you letting me be here because this is very compassionate. We're synergizing. Oh, let me say real quick, in what Janet said about pujas, if we ladies can ever meet each other and have an event together at a high level of divinity or the cosmos divine or whatever we want to call it, I would love, even if we go to Reno where Bridget is, I don't care where it's at if we can get ourselves there, but to have a puja, I had one in People Synergistically Involved. That wasn't I had a psychic, what was mine called? Psychic awakening classes, and I ran Psychic Network as a corporation nonprofit. But I did that after I went through a puja in People Synergistically Involved Psi seminars, and I went all the way up to the $5,000 level because everything costs to learn. But I wouldn't trade that for anything because if nothing else, with music playing and looking in people's eyes. I'd never done that, even though I'd been a psychic in '84 and in the Gold Pyramid and been ordained a real goddess preacher kind of person for Universal Life in the Unity Church. I didn't know what a puja was. And it wasn't till I did that circle Janet's talking about and went soul to soul that I just, heart, mind, chakra, oh my gosh. It was the most beautiful thing with others I've ever experienced. A lot better than sex. So there. I'm done.
Yeah. No, yeah, I had an ashram period of my life for 6 months. So we did a lot of that kind of stuff. And it was a very intense period of my life, but a very, I think, significant too as well. Anyway, okay, so onward and upward to the next one. If what kind of if you were me and you were the mediator right now, what kind of questions do you think that I should be asking you guys that so that you could give the information? Is there any kind of information that you really want like the public to know, or now that you're kind of opening yourself up a little bit, or think about in today? Maybe it's around change, how they can take action to change. I agree. There has to be action, like Janet was talking, physical action. You've just got to do something. And I agree with Barbara too that, you should do what scares you the most. Actually take steps towards maybe what scares you the most, and so that you can see that it's not as scary as it looked. And maybe it's just, part of your story of fiction. So anything that you would like to talk about personally that I haven't asked or talked about, and then maybe include, ideas of how people can start changing right now, today, and how to take action towards that. Okay, Mona, you're on.
What just gave you pride? What is something that made your heart sing and that you knew everything was okay? That would be the question I'd want to ask.
Okay, but so
All right, well, a lot goes through my mind too, but one thing I'm going to add before too is something that either somebody respected you or you got to respect somebody, and to be blessed for the things that we do have happen to us, no matter what they are. We forget that that's a major ingredient. It's like Thanksgiving, but we don't give that kind of thanks in the spirit world. You know what I mean? We give it different kinds of thanks. So okay, let me see. If I asked myself that question, what was my last pride? And I think it was I bought fresh flowers and put them in a pot outside because when I just walked by, it smiled at me. And that's what brings the joy. And so that's my pride is any little effort I can put out there that's alive. I carry on with respect and pride. So ladies, what have you felt you could feel the respect and pride of your actions?
Yeah, and then maybe how, like Mona said, how do you reward yourself? She got herself some flowers. So, Barbara, we're gonna toss that at you now.
Is there a mute happening?
Yeah, she's on mute. Barbara, you have to unmute yourself, girl.
Frack, there I
There
am.
you go. Okay, back now to you. You have the stage.
My question would be how to overcome fear, because I think that's where most people get stuck. Is they let that fear just kind of take over
Can I
and
bring something up with that? It's because we don't have faith in knowing that we only have control of ourselves, not the
yeah,
situations outside of us. Go ahead.
yeah. So it's building it's true. It's how do you overcome your fear? First, you have to realize it is fear and build a relationship with fear, and then you have to uh, um, just stand in its face, you know, and stand your ground. And I think part of it is to let go of who I think I am, and try and do that on a daily basis because I change every day, every minute, every hour, really. Um, but it's the fear thing for me. I always wanted to do what was right, conditioned. I was always worried about everybody else, you know, all those things, you know. And so finally, when I had a relationship with fear and told it to have a suck it sandwich, you know, kind of get the heck out of here and go about doing my business and staying focused on that because we can get busy doing all these other things that really aren't important in some ways. Um, so staying focused and what do I do to how I nurture myself. I'm with you. I have a dozen pink roses in my room right now. I try and have flowers and candles and aromatherapy and beauty and art and music. Okay.
All right, Janet, you're up on the wheel
Some,
of Carrying Stones and Digging Holes radio show. All right.
well, I love what everybody's saying. I just want to piggyback on the fear stuff. So I was saying that at the break. That's what I was saying at the break. So what is repressed becomes demonic. So when you see you encounter your own fear, what we do in our therapy practice is we say, crank it up, sweetheart. There's a message for you under there. If you face your fear, face your worst case scenario, your worst fear, and actually go there mentally, psychically, spiritually. You know, say you fear death. You know, okay, go to the point of if you died. How did you die? Who comes to your funeral? What did they say to you? What do you want to say to them? You're on the other side. You know, if you go through the whole process and you encounter your fears, what you don't want, and if you take what you want, they actually converge. What you don't want and what you do want is one of the same thing in the continuum. And somebody said talk about control. Yeah, let go of control. That's part of the problem. You're just trying to control everything. What if you couldn't control anything? You let go, you surrender. It's like, okay, now what? And usually when you let go, surrender, um, you know, you find the answers which lead to your bliss. So look at what are your blocks? What are your chakra blocks? We said what keeps you from your bliss? Um, And then we ask the question often in our workshops, who am I? You just look at each other. Who am I? You keep going back for it. Who am I? And I think, yeah, Barbara, you were talking about um, identifying well, who you think you are in a moment. Well, who you think you are is just a limited perspective of who you're becoming and who you will be. So keep redefining yourself. Don't stay stuck. What's repressed becomes demonic. Look at your repressions. Look at your blocks. And then we often symbol the monster in front of you, the boogeyman. You know, you say you have a dream and you're running from a monster. Turn around and face the monster, and then look at the monster, and then unzip the monster and see who's the monster underneath the monster. It's usually some kind of person in your life or their past lives, but they're just representing your disowned self. If you own it all creation, then you're centered and you're blissful and everything's good, and it's just a divine play Leela, and we're having this passion play, and we're all taking turns being the demon, being the bad guy, being the villain, being the hero. You know, it's just a big psychodrama that goes on and on and on. So what do I do to nurture myself? I go on a radio show and I talk to people like you, and have a nice cup of tea. And when I'm done, I go talk to my husband and pet my cats. I have a couple house cats and a lot of jungle cats. And I go out in nature and put my feet in the soil. And I look at the giant trees. I'm surrounded by trees that are hundreds of feet tall. So I set it up that way. And I breathe this air, which is some of the freshest in the world. So I encourage you to do that wherever you are. You know, do the same. Go take a shower, take a good nap. Go hug somebody. Go hug a tree. Go hug your animals. You know, listen to the birds sing. That's what I do. Next person. Thank you.
All right. All right. So, Teresa, what kind of advice or information would you give people to make a shift and change and or add comments from the other people on their comments? And then what do you do to thank yourself or nurture yourself?
Wow, that's a lot. Physician, heal thyself was always the thought that comes to mind. Learning is what's helped me, and I did a lot of educating myself in the early years. Since I'm 68, or going to be 68 this year, starting out in 51, I died in the second grade, so I learned how to leave my body, but I came back, so they call it an out of body. And I learned that I had awe about me that people were in awe of, and they didn't. What made you this way, or what? They just. I had this glow and this look of love, apparently. So I made it till I died again. My second time was giving childbirth to my daughter that's now passed. So I know I was completely dead because I lost all the blood except maybe half a quart or something because there wasn't enough blood in the hospital and my stepfather had to give me blood.
Oh, you muted yourself, Teresa. Unmute. There
Oh,
you go.
yeah, I guess I didn't. I tend to sabotage myself. That's one of my physical realities is like turning that off. I had no clue I did it, but I had my eyes closed when I was talking. So my finger went down. I apologize. But dying at a different level and still not talking about it or writing about it because I was too young and didn't want to be different. So I learned uh, to allow myself to just be, and learn how to do it and then have it. Be, do, have principle was what I lived by through my 30s in the military and all that. So I didn't graduate thrice born till after my husband died. Janet and I say we both were in trauma in the hospital when Zachariah Sitchin died, but I really thrice born when my husband died, 12, 16, 15, because, or was it 12 2? It was 12 2 15 because I collapsed at the end of his bed knowing he was going to leave, and I couldn't stop him, and I had to relinquish all control. But then I was able to revive myself and go out to the room and go get him. He wanted something to drink, tea or something, not tea, I don't know what he wanted, but I went to get it, and then that time I couldn't stay in my body, and so 8 people carried me down to the ICU, well, actually to the ER, and then they called the chaplain and they asked me for the number of anybody that would, be concerned that I died. So I tried to give her my daughter's number, Steffi, here in Florida, but I just couldn't. And the men, they were calling it, and the lady picked my arm up, and I watched it fall, and I was like, no, I'm not dead. I'm not leaving this time. I can't. I don't know why, but I've got to be here because my husband's upstairs. So I told him, I said, I can't leave. My husband's upstairs. And the men at the end of the doctors at the end of the gurney were shocked. And I said, what? And they said, I said, well, I'm sorry, but I've got to go back upstairs. They're like, you can't. You just, left basically. And I said, well, I do it all the time. It's no big deal. And they said, well, maybe not for you, but the only people we've seen has never lived to tell about it, what you just did. So I got up and walked myself back upstairs, and they were in awe, and they just left the room like never in my. They gave it some long name, but they said that I brought it on with stress, basically, from my husband dying. So I went and held my husband, and he died. But I have learned that we're here such a short time, and we never know when we're going to go, and we don't have any control over it. So you got to just let go and let God, or whatever it is that you call your divinity, because I believe we're all one. I believe in the all of everything is alive, everything, absolutely everything outside of us and inside us. So, to help other people is just recognize your divinity, and that you don't have to be scared to death if talking about the word fear. You have no control over that, and you never know when you're going. So the best thing I can do is just tell you, it's just like you're turning off the telephone or the radio. When we get through with this radio, are we dead? No, of course not. So I treat it like a radio station or television or satellite. We're just not tuned in. So my thing for me to make me feel better is right here with you ladies, because
Oh,
to allow myself connection to another person, it's not that I fear that. I wouldn't say that's fear, but communication is my lesson. My mission here in the Ascension Age is to learn to communicate what I know and how to be with the divine. So being yourself on the inside and the outside at the same time, that's the lesson, and whatever
yeah,
we teach ourselves. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
yes,
Awesome. All
yeah.
right, so we have like about 10 minutes left. Um, is okay, so I'm going to ask Mona, is there anything you would like to ask the ladies?
Well, if they feel like a chat, you know what time my station is. I'm at 2 to 4. If anybody wants to go ahead and get a hold of me and chat, I'd love to do a show with each one of you. And Bridget and I have done a few, and I think I've done a few with the people here.
Yeah, and Mona's even been a host on my show. She's hosted my show.
That's right.
We know each other well. We're
Well, but it's
okay.
to the point where I wouldn't mind, and that's how I even got into this radio station, is because host needed to take a couple weeks off, because this station has meant so much in the truth factor that I really am going to say it. We got to support this. This is the last. I've seen so many radio stations leave, and we've got millions across, well, more than millions, across this planet that are listening to this station. So please donate. We don't know what kind of time we have left or anything else like that, but our captain is out playing with the universe, and we are here to help make the changes. And I know everybody has gotten something out of this radio station. So support us, donate.
Awesome. Okay, Barbara, is there anything that you would like to ask the ladies in the group or comment on?
Um, I would just want to say thank you. It's been a real pleasure to be with everyone. And I know I've hung out with Janet quite a bit. I know her the best out of the group, and some with Teresa. Um, I just I love that we're getting together and connecting and hanging out and just being who we are. And sometimes maybe that's enough, right?
That's all I know.
Yeah, well, it's like a Fibonacci sequence, right? We're at the what? We're, at 5. So the 5, times blah, 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 and it amplifies out as it goes, right? So it's all good. Okay, so Janet, is there anything that you want to comment on or ask the ladies or, you know?
Oh, yeah, I wish we had more time, so maybe let's break this again. I think it was very powerful. I like the personal stories. I really appreciate that you told us how you died in the or in the emergency room, and you just told them I got to get up and go beat my husband while he dies, and that's who we are. Most people don't realize that, yeah, we can't control it, but yet you did. You just seized the bull by the horn. You said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm going to go upstairs and be there when my husband passed. And I know you were there holding your daughter's hand when she passed, and that's very profound. I've never done that myself, but congratulations. That's a level of consciousness and awareness that we all, I guess, will eventually develop. So yes, let's bring it on. Let's do more. Let's see yeah, I too have had 8 near-death experiences. It's very interesting when you're dead and you come back. My mother was terrified that I kept coming back. She tried killing me. Long story, it's okay. I forgave her. She's dead now. But that process of going in and out of your body, realizing that you are an eternal being, that there really is no death, and it's just consciousness, and that on some level you are the chooser of where you put your consciousness. And I guess that's the final thing I want to add is that we're living in very interesting times. So what happened before this, we're in a changes. We're in a generation that's going to change us. So don't think you're going to die. I was on the show yesterday. Death is not an option. Think of living forever and how you can, make it a better existence for everybody and all times and every moment. And realize that we are universal beings, and our goal is unconditional, universal love. So, oneness, connect. So I'm done. I'm done preaching. On to
Okay. All right, Teresa.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask the ladies any questions? Mind you, we have 4 minutes. Or did you want to make a comment? And I'm going to throw something out there. I was just looking at my book, and if the ladies are interested, my show on Wednesday, November 27th is the day before Thanksgiving, would be the same time. If anybody's interested in coming in, and maybe we could do a Thanksgiving show and talk about giving thanks and maybe rituals to give thanks and how we give thanks, and maybe help people to, have a better Thanksgiving and holiday with moving into being thankful. If anybody's interested, just let me know.
I'll do it, and I'm going to say farewell to everybody.
All right, Mona, have a great show today, girl.
Okay, we'll see if I can think of anything to talk about. Love you. Love.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, Mona.
Aloha.
Love.
So,
Well,
Teresa, let me know. Do you want to ask the ladies any questions or make any comments? Final.
I don't think we have time. We don't know when this is going to cut off in the next 3 or 4 minutes, I guess, if it cuts off on the hour. But I've just enjoyed being here, Bridget. I think you had a good idea. I'm glad you spurred this on. And once a month, being thankful, just that we could share as ladies in the radio business, and we're all in the psychic or cosmos divine or whatever you want to call it. I just feel like that we're all had a say so, and it's good to see how each person expresses themselves. I'm into communication. My company's American Communications Online, and I'm trying to expand that to people, everybody, as a matter of fact, because that's all I can offer is communication right now. That's my mission, and various ways that we communicate with each other. So there's a lot of people that are tuning into me that used to not. So I don't know that we're all part of the all, and it just depends on, it's like a thread in a quilt or a drop of water. So everybody is connected. So everybody out there listening, please don't be afraid to contact us as radio show hosts, because we all love to interview people as someone outside of ourselves. So with that said, I'll turn it back to you, Bridget. And I'm TJ Morris, ET Radio, but I do promote the brand Revolution Radios, all of us. I do plural, revolutionradios.org. So I promote everybody, just some more than others, because they contact me and ask me to.
Yeah, so I'm also interested in having, each person individually on my show. I'll toss out some dates. But are you interested in coming in on the morning of the 27th, the day before Thanksgiving, November, Teresa?
Yeah, sure. As long
okay,
as
well, I'll put you in.
Yeah, I like this. And
okay.
Janet and I have both done these type shows.
Okay, is that Janet?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, count me in. I'll write in my calendar. Let's see.
Okay.
What
Day
day?
before
What's the date again?
Thanksgiving.
Say that
Well, I
again.
figure, like if
25th.
we can build a kind of a little group and we can talk to people out there, maybe we can give them, ideas and information and help and support and bring different aspects because we're all different in how we approach our spirituality. So I think it's a great thing. So Barbara, are you in for the November 27th?
I'm gonna try. I'll
Okay.
have to let you know I'm in Germany, but I think I might be back like the day before.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll just I'll just keep sending out reminders and we'll go
Yeah.
from there. So hopefully we can put things together from our own world and then, be able to express those and give the community some support. But anyway, you've been listening to Caring Stones and Digging Holes radio show. This is the Wednesday edition. I am your host, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, and I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks everybody for being on. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Aloha.
Aloha. Stay in touch.